Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Week 7 summary for the AAC. We'll talk about the four games played over the weekend, share predictions about the seven games coming up in Week 8, with all 14 teams in head to head conference matchups. And we'll start alphabetically with Army, coming into Week 7 with a 5-0 record. Now, back in the summer, I had predicted that UAB would win this game. And once again, I predicted that Army would have a good season, but not a great one. Well, so far they're 6-0 and they became the first AAC team to become bowl eligible with a convincing 44-10 victory over a struggling UAB team. I figured that Army might lose at least one game that it should win, at least on paper, but this was not the week. This is the second time this season that my summer prediction has gone against the Black Knights, who were clearly the better team on this day. Quarterback Bryson Daly rushed for 136 yards and four touchdowns and also had one passing touchdown. Army has now won its last five games at Mikey Stadium, dating to last season, and is off to its best start since they went 9-0 back in 1996. While 1-5 UAB is now set to take on South Florida, Army will put its undefeated streak on the line against East Carolina. The Cadets have to lose at some point. I think this will be the week. The Charlotte 49ers were on a bye this week. Their record stands at 3-3, and I've been perfect in predicting their games so far this year. Although I will admit that I received an assist from Lady Luck in week 5 when Rice missed a potential game-winning field goal against the 49ers. Charlotte plays Navy looking ahead to week 8, and the 49ers will come out on the short end of this one as Navy goes to 6-0. East Carolina was also in their bye week. Their record also stands at 3-3, and I've been perfect in predicting their games as well. East Carolina takes on Army, as we previously mentioned, in week 8, and I predicted that the Pirates would win this game back in the summer. Let's see if my hot weather predictions continue to hold fast as far as ECU is concerned. North Texas traveled to Florida Atlantic in week 7. I'd only missed one game that North Texas has played, whereas I've been perfect calling the FAU games. In this one, a game FAU squad jumped out to a 27-17 halftime lead, and they had a 10-point lead, 37-27 in the fourth quarter. But Chandler Morris threw two of his four touchdown passes in the final 2 minutes and 38 seconds to help the Mean Green pull out a dramatic 41-37 victory while on the road. Cam Fancher threw for 351 yards and three touchdowns, but also had an interception in a losing effort for FAU. The Owls now fall to 2-4, and they have performed exactly as I predicted in terms of record. They next face UTSA, who they will also lose to. North Texas goes to 5-1. I got this game right, and we'll see how I do next week. They're on the road against Memphis, and they will come away a loser as Memphis continues to surge. Speaking of Memphis, they brought a 4-1 record into South Florida, who was coming in at 2-3 and having to shake off the devastating effects of Hurricane Milton. Memphis quarterback Seth Hennigan went 28 of 40 for 208 yards and two touchdowns, and he threw one interception to lead the Tigers to a 21-3 victory over the Bulls. Three turnovers proved to be the undoing of the home team, as Memphis controlled the ball for over 41 minutes. Memphis, now 5-1, will pick up another big conference win this coming weekend over North Texas, while South Florida will get a chance to rebound with a big win over UAB, a team that has really struggled this season. Navy was on a bye in week 7 with a record of 5-0. Last week, I predicted the Air Force Academy would find a way to knock the midshipmen from the ranks of the undefeated, but Navy prevailed, and that's the only game of theirs that I've missed so far. Now, in week 8, Navy will take on Charlotte, and the Middies will prevail once again, perhaps by double digits. UTSA traveled to Rice in week 7. Both teams have performed below my preseason expectations. UTSA came into the game at 2-3, whereas I had them at 3-2. I incorrectly called the Roadrunners to win at Texas State in week 2, which I was way off on. But Rice has really been an enigma for me this year. I predicted they would be at 3-2. They were blindsided in week 1 versus Sam Houston, and I called for them to beat Army in week 4 and came into the game against UTSA at a dismal 1-4. In this game between the two Texas rivals, quarterback E.J. Warner of Rice completed 25 of 39 passes for 347 yards with 2 touchdowns, including an 18-yard scoring strike to Matt Sykes with just 4 seconds left to lift Rice to a 29-27 victory, snapping a 3-game losing streak for the Owls. Rice now sits at 2-4, not at 3-3, which is where I predicted they would be at this point of the season. It's the third time I've missed one of their games, and the second time I have missed on a UTSA game. UTSA will pick up a win this week against FAU. Rice will lose to Tulane in their next outing. Tulsa was on a bye. Their record is 2-4 going into week 8, and I've been perfect so far in predicting the winners in their games. Tulsa's week 8 opponent is Temple, and I see Temple getting the win this week. Speaking of Temple, they are also coming off a bye with a 1-5 record. I've gotten all but one of their games correct, and the one I missed was a very fluky loss to Connecticut, where they had a chance to win the game with a touchdown at the end, only to suffer a fumble and a 96-yard touchdown run back of a fumble, stunning everyone in the crowd as well as me. Temple will host Tulsa, and I'm calling for Temple to pick up its second win of the year. Okay, I didn't exactly stay in alphabetical order. We'll finish with Tulane, another team coming off a bye week with a 4-2 record. I predicted they would be at 3-3 at this point. I misfired on their game against Louisiana earlier in the season. This week, Tulane hosts Rice, and I see the Green Wave continuing to stay in the hunt for a conference title with a win. But now they'll need some help along the way, with Army and Navy both undefeated. So, what are your thoughts? Let me know what you think. Be sure to tune in next week as we work our way into the second half of the 2024 season, right here in the American Athletic Conference.